Imagine a war between sacred and rebellious celestial beings in one of the most legendary tales. Gather around as I recount the Exodus, a journey that has shaped faiths, inspired many, and sparked endless debate among scholars. This is a story of hope and resilience. The enslaved Israelites, led by Moses, bravely fight the ancient Egyptian empire. Who was the powerful ruler who opposed Moses and his divine power? Was Ramses II, the legendary king of builders, forever ensconced in stone? Or perhaps another soul faded into history? A tale of wonders sees rivers turn into blood, the heavens darken, and staffs become serpents. Each plague cuts Egypt's power, mocking their gods and dashing their pride. Then the Red Sea pierced miracles beyond imagination. A deep mystery lies beyond the sacred narrative. Was this real? Our past whispers invite us to discover the secrets buried in time. Could the truth be more intriguing than fiction? Explore the Exodus, a story of faith, strength, and the fall of an empire, with us. The story has lived on across cultures and beliefs, spreading hope, strength, and divine guidance. The central story of the Exodus is the Israelites' escape from generations of harsh bondage in Egypt, a story that would shape their nation and the world's memory. Imagine a vast empire, rich in gold, powerful, and adorned with magnificent structures that shine as a testament to human ingenuity. Egypt once boasted of its power, elegance, and sacred power. The pharaoh, a divine ruler whose decrees were law and whose desires ruled this grand empire. Egypt's temples and pyramids hid a dark and burdensome truth. For generations, Jacob's descendants, the Israelites, lived in Egypt. Over time, they were enslaved and forced to work under the sun. Despite building cities, monuments, and irrigation systems, their pleas for liberation went unheard. They emerged from despair in an unexpected way. A brave mother saved her baby when the pharaoh ordered the death of all Hebrew male infants. Trusting in a higher plan, she lovingly placed him in a basket and let him float on the Nile. By chance, Pharaoh's daughter found him and raised him as her own. Young Moses thrived in the palace's opulent halls, but his humble beginnings guided him. Inspired by his people's suffering, Moses bravely killed an Egyptian taskmaster who was brutally beating a Hebrew slave. His fear and guilt drove him to the wilderness, where he tended sheep for 40 years. For 40 years, God did not forget his people or Moses. Moses saw the burning bush in the desert, a holy site that changed history. Moses returned to Egypt to boldly request the Israelites' liberation at the Almighty's command. The journey was dangerous and unknown. Moses wondered if he could face Pharaoh and lead his people to freedom. Thus, the Almighty comforted him by promising to guide and strengthen him throughout his journey. He returned to Egypt with a bold message: "Let my people go." However, Pharaoh, filled with pride and stubbornness, rejected him. He saw the Israelites as Egypt's lifeblood, a vital source of labor that kept the empire thriving. Liberating them would pose a challenge to his dominion and put his realm at risk. In a grand confrontation, Moses stood firm for Israel's God, while Pharaoh displayed Egypt's power and divinity. Divinity became increasingly heated, and confrontations followed. Moses showed Pharaoh wondrous signs. His staff became a serpent, and the waters turned to blood. But his heart was hardened. His clever magicians imitated some of these marvels, so he wasn't worried. A unique battle emerged as the plagues descended on the land. In history, the Almighty of the Israelites and the deities of Egypt fought a titanic battle that would shake Pharaoh's empire. The stakes were high, a crucial moment. For Israel, This was a battle for survival, honor, and freedom. Egypt had to prove its supremacy and sacredness. Moses followed a path of unwavering faith, bravery, and obedience. Unknown to those present, this encounter would lead to the miraculous parting of the Red Sea, establishing a legacy that transcends his stolas beyond liberation to show hope's resilience, faith's triumph over fear, and the belief that even the strongest chains can be broken. We will explain the events and their significance for the Israelites, Egypt, and humanity as we read this story. The epic story revolves around the identity of the pharaoh. This mystery has captivated many and sparked endless discussions and inquiries throughout history. For centuries, scholars, historians, and truth seekers have tried to decipher this ruler's identity from ancient writings, earthly discoveries, and sacred narratives. His name's enigma draws us into the story's possibilities. There are intriguing stories that link the Exodus to Egypt's legendary pharaoh, Ramses II. Ramses II was a powerful ruler in the 19th dynasty, around the 13th century BC. His name is often linked to the Exodus, and he left a legacy of magnificent building projects that still inspire awe. These projects were laborious, like the Israelites' bondage work, to build cities and monuments. Ramses II's grand city, Pyrameses, is also known as the Land of Goshen, the Israelites' home. However, this theory faces significant challenges. The timeline contradicts the sacred narrative, suggesting the Exodus occurred earlier than thought. A definitive archaeological link between Ramses II and the sacred texts has yet to be found. Another notable figure is Thutmose III, a fascinating 18th dynasty pharaoh from the 15th century BC. Thutmose III, a powerful ruler, led Egypt to wealth and power through military campaigns and expansionist policies. His reign matches sacred texts' estimated timeline of the Great Departure. Scholars believe that Thutmose III's use of forced labor to strengthen his empire worsened the Israelite situation. It is interesting that his stepmother and predecessor, Hatshepsut, was praised for her wise and peaceful leadership, focusing on trade rather than conquest. Hatshepsut's reign bestowed prosperity on the Israelites. However, the death of Hatshepsut and the rise of Thutmose III cast a shadow over them, leading to the grave bondage documented in sacred texts. Another intriguing candidate is Amenhotep II, who succeeded Thutmose III in the texts, as his reign aligns with the Exodus. His remarkable athleticism and unwavering pride resemble ancient tales of stubborn and defiant rulers. According to some historians, Egypt's military power declined after Amenhotep II's reign, which may have coincided with the Exodus. Could his army's defeat at the Red Sea have started Egypt's decline? Do these theories decline? There are tricky perspectives, but no definitive answers. The story is further complicated by Egypt's lack of Exodus references. Ancient Egyptian scribes meticulously recorded their civilization's triumphs, but their failures and defeats often went unrecorded. The Exodus may have been omitted from history to protect the pharaoh and his land. The event may have been documented in ways we don't know. This mystery is known. Weaving history, faith, and imagination makes it alluring. The Exodus story is shaped by each pharaoh's perspective. Was Ramses II a glorious figure who symbolized Egypt's zenith and foreshadowed its decline? Was Thutmose III's zeal responsible for Israelite suffering? Pride may have brought down Amenhotep II on the Red Sea. Every opportunity invites us to explore ancient Egypt's governance, traditions, and beliefs, and how they shaped the Israelites. Throughout history, the Israelites' search for the pharaoh's identity goes beyond curiosity. It shows the Exodus story's durability. Whether true or metaphorical, this story of oppression, resistance, and liberation resonates. As we unravel the Pharaoh's mystery, we learn more about the powerful forces that shaped this crucial chapter in human history. This journey may reveal our trials, aspirations, and unwavering desire for liberation. Moses' meeting with liberation is a key moment in the Exodus story. It is not just a fight between two people. It is a grand struggle between the Almighty of Israel and the deities of Egypt, a decisive moment that will shape a people. Imagine Moses, who fled Egypt in fear, facing the world's mightiest ruler with only faith and a shepherd's staff. His brother Aaron speaks Moses' commands beside him. All together, they tell Pharaoh, "Release my people." Pharaoh initially mocks people. Who are these men, and what do they control? He considers them nuisances that disrupt his kingdom. Moses and Aaron are not alone. They arrive with divine support and prove it quickly. Aaron throws his staff to the ground, and it becomes a serpent before Pharaoh's amazed eyes, demonstrating divine authority. But Pharaoh's heart remains hard. The skilled magicians summon serpents to mimic the wonder before them. But then something amazing happens. The Aaronic serpent devours them. It may seem like a small victory, but it proves that Israel's God is superior to Egypt's. Pharaoh's heart remains Egypt's. He ignores him and tells a story of rising plagues that will upend Egypt. Each plague rocks Egyptian life and faith, destroying their sense of safety and divine favor. Egypt's prosperity and sacred beliefs, the Nile River, are struck by the first plague. Moses ordered the waters to turn into blood, tainting the nation. In times of great distress, fish die, the river stinks, and the Egyptians desperately seek pure water. Pharaoh considers it a temporary disturbance. The frog plague is causing disturbances everywhere, including homes, beds, and cooking pots. The Egyptians cry out in despair, but when the frogs die, a foul smell engulfs them. Pharaoh's heart is unwavering. After gnats, flies invade. These tiny beings carry heavenly decrees, afflicting humans and animals. The magicians, humbled by the power they see, say, "This is the finger of God." But Pharaoh, consumed by pride, refuses to submit. A plague intensifies every time livestock dies. Humans get painful boils, and the heavens unleash a hailstorm that destroys crops and fields. Every misfortune shows Egypt's god's weakness. Nut, the sky goddess, watches over the crops as hail destroys them. Night covers the land for 3 days, challenging Ra, the sun god. Despite his heartache, Pharaoh refuses to yield. He offers concessions. Let the Israelites worship in Egypt. Let only men leave. But Moses demands complete liberation. Anything less is unacceptable. Finally, the 10th is unacceptable. Plague strikes, the firstborn's tragedy. This climax pierces Egyptian society. From the palace to the smallest home, every family is sad. Even the son of Pharaoh dies, revealing his weakness. He quickly orders Moses and Aaron to depart under the cover of darkness. The Israelites, once oppressed and ignored, triumph and lift their spirits. The Egyptians give them silver, gold, and clothes, a miraculous turn of events guided by the Almighty. What prompted the Almighty to manifest his ill will through plagues? Why not immediately free the Israelites from Pharaoh? See the divine purpose behind the plagues. They were profound declarations of sovereignty, not just punishments. Egypt's religious beliefs were shaken by each plague, revealing the hollowness of their idols. In the grand tapestry of ancient tales, Osiris, Hathor, and Ptah were humbled by the supreme creator of heaven and earth. Through it all, the Israelites saw God's power, strengthening their faith and preparing them for the journey ahead. Pride can be dangerous, as Pharaoh's head shows. He refuses to humble himself even in the presence of miraculous signs and divine acts. His stubbornness destroys him and his people. Arrogance can cloud judgment and lead to ruin, as this story shows. Moses and Pharaoh face more than a bash, wills. This story shows divine justice, a heartfelt call to repent, and God's faithfulness. The story transports readers to a world filled with wonders, where rulers fall and freedom triumphs over tyranny. Years have passed swiftly since these events, yet their reverberations continue to compel us to contemplate our standing before the ultimate authority. The story reaches its peak when Pharaoh oppresses the Israelites. After enduring centuries of harsh bondage, the Hebrews have at last been set free. They pack their belongings, embrace their families, and lead their flocks on the sacred path to the promised land with hope. This is just the start of a big story. Absolutely not. This thrilling tale of chase, divine guidance, and salvation is a thrilling chapter in human history. The Israelites' release by Pharaoh is a moment in the story. His transformation begins as they march away. Could pride be involved? It could be the fear of losing such a large group of hard-working workers. It could be astonishment that he was overcome by a deity he ignored. For unknown reasons, Pharaoh quickly reconsiders. He gathers his powerful army of chariots and warriors and pursues the fleeing Israelites. The scene is set for a lasting conflict. As they traveled, the Israelites were unaware of the dangers ahead. But soon, chariot wheels rumble and hooves thunder in the distance. They see a cloud of dust rising as they look ahead, signaling something important. The mighty Pharaoh's army is fierce and unwavering in their pursuit of what they believe is theirs. Campers are frightened. The people shouted at Moses, their leader, for bringing them to their doom. "Did you bring us here to die in the wilderness because Egypt had no graves?" They sing a powerful chorus. Fear grips them. They are trapped between the army's relentless march and the Red Sea's endless waters. Moses stays strong during turmoil. He lifts waters, which had amazed Pharaoh, with a steady hand, comforting the crowd. "Fear not," he says. "Stand still and behold the deliverance of the Lord." His voice is authoritative, but even he cannot predict the future. As the Israelites marvel, a powerful pillar of fire and cloud appears, separating them from the Egyptian forces. It confuses the army, halting their march. This sacred moment provides a break, but for what? Things happen that seem impossible. What is a powerful force? The wind blows, a breath seems. Two magnificent walls rise above the land as it presses against the powerful Red Sea. The radiant fire pillar illuminates a dry path in the middle of it all. The Israelites wonder if this is another divine wonder or a natural illusion. Moses urges them on. Each steps onto the seabed as they approach the water, their sandals softly crunching against the moist earth. Families hold hands tightly, children cuddle with their parents, and elders use walking sticks. With careful steps, the nation crosses to the other side. Pharaoh's army feels their impatience in the midst of it all. As the Israelites crossed, they were pursued. See the chariots plunge into the deep waters, their wheels spinning in the muck. As they advance, the water's massive walls tremble. Moses is commanded by God to raise his hand over the sea again. Moses raises his staff with faith, and the waters roar. The powerful Egyptian army, chariots, horses, and brave soldiers, is destroyed. Everyone is harmed. On a distant shore, Israelites watch the destruction. The sea is calm again, as if the storms of the past are forgotten. However, the enemy is gone. A wave of relief surges through the crowd, sparking joyful celebration. They sing praise songs with high voices under Moses and Miriam's faithful leadership. Drums beat, tambourines jingle, and voices sing a joyful chorus. They feel liberated for the first time in years. This is more than a win. It symbolizes faith, bravery, and divine power. The Israelites have seen that their God transcends nature and human power. He has the ability to disorient adversaries, split the waters, and guide his followers toward safety. This event serves as a solemn reminder. It reminds us that pride and stubbornness, like Pharaoh's, can lead to ruin. It shows us that hope endures even in the darkest shadows. Imagine yourself on that shore, where the gentle sea shadows caress your face and children laugh joyfully, unaware of freedom's true meaning. Imagine looking at your journey, now hidden beneath the depths, and realizing that your life has changed forever. The Exodus story is powerful. It is more than a story of fleeing. It is about change. It shows us that freedom is possible despite insurmountable obstacles. It makes us wonder, what waters must we cross to find freedom? Throughout the ages, scholars, archaeologists, and faiths have explored the concept of freedom. Ours have been captivated by the Exodus story. It connects belief, time, and discovery, sparking heated debates about its veracity. Some call it a legend, but others say there is strong evidence. The search for the UA legend takes us into ancient writings, amazing archaeological finds, and the wonders of the earth, weaving a captivating and intricate story. The Merneptah stele, a 1208 BC inscription, supports the story. An artifact from 1896 is one of the earliest accounts of Israel outside the sacred texts. A remarkable carving from Pharaoh Merneptah's time depicts a military campaign in Canaan and describes Israel as a unique people already established in the land. If the Israelites were already in Canaan, when did they leave Egypt? The massive departure from Egypt may have occurred in the 14th or 15th century before Christ, according to scholars. This timeline complicates the connection between Ramses II and the Exodus, given that he ruled in the 13th century BC, a significant period after the Exodus. Recent Red Sea discoveries have stoked the debate. Brave divers have discovered chariot wheels, sturdy axles, and even human remains adorned with coral in the Exodus Aqaba, a magical branch of the Red Sea. These artifacts display striking similarities to Egyptian New Kingdom art. Might these be the Pharaoh's army, laid low by the floods? Some may question whether these findings are chance or misread, but those who believe in Exodus see them as intriguing hints of a greater truth. These findings would provide tangible proof of one of the most remarkable events in sacred scripture. Beyond past relics, the earth's layers tell stories. In scripture, explore its mysteries. The Exodus plagues may have been caused by natural forces like volcanic eruptions or earthquakes, according to some scholars. Thera, a volcano on Santorini, erupted in ancient times. Around 1600 BC, this event unleashed its fiery wrath, causing widespread disorder in the eastern Mediterranean. A massive disaster illuminates the past. Consider the Nile, once a river of life, now a crimson stream, possibly caused by red algae blooms from destruction ash. Egypt was shrouded in darkness for 3 days, possibly by volcanic dust. These events resonate throughout history, prompting us to consider their significance. Wind Setdown explains the Red Sea's parting, a remarkable natural event. Here, fierce winds temporarily push the waters aside, revealing a dry passage. History and contemporary inquiry show that these rare events can happen when the conditions are right. The lack of conclusive evidence casts doubt. Some say it's the Grand Rite. The migration of countless Israelites from Egypt is believed to have left more significant marks in history. Large groups of people often leave settlement patterns, pottery shards, and other artifacts that tell their migration story. The paths once thought to have been traveled during the Exodus show no conclusive evidence of that massive migration. Does this mean the story is fictional? That may not be true. Ancient records tell a rich story where symbolic meaning often trumps historical accuracy. Oral traditions may embellish or distort past events, creating a vivid but sometimes distorted picture. Our definition of proof may not match ancient civilizations' accounts. Despite uncertainties, the Exodus story fascinates audiences with accounts. Liberation, divine intervention, and resilience resonate throughout human history. Even worldly observers cannot deny the story's cultural impact. The Exodus has inspired many artistic, literary, and political works that represent liberation across cultures. From enslaved Africans yearning for freedom to civil rights leaders calling on Moses' bravery, this story transcends its sacred roots and becomes a timeless symbol of hope for all humanity. The search for the Exodus's truth reflects both past events and humanity. It invites us to combine faith, understanding, heritage, and awe with inquiry. The Exodus invites us to consider our shared humanity, whether it is factual or symbolic. It gently reminds us that understanding is a long but valuable journey. Our search for answers may lead to a deeper appreciation for the mysteries that shape our worldview. The Exodus is a rich tapestry of history and faith that invites us to a worldview. The story inspires both cultural and spiritual transformation. Authority, faith, and selfhood are central to the story. The plagues God sent upon Egypt were not just outbursts, but serious challenges to Egypt's deities. Each plague shook the Egyptians' faith, revealing its fragility and their gods' flaws. Consider the first plague, when the Nile River, Egypt's lifeblood, turned to blood. The Egyptians worshipped the Nile as Hapi, a divine presence. In a powerful display, the waters turned to blood, undermining their faith in this agricultural and spiritual god. Amidst enormous turmoil, fish died, waters turned foul, and disorder swept the land like a dark shadow. This was more than a minor issue. It threatened the Egyptians' safety and divine status. The second plague brought frogs to Egypt, invading homes, fields, and Pharaoh's palace. The ancient goddess of fertility and childbirth, Heket, was often depicted with a frog head. The land was flooded with these creatures, revealing Heket's power. Once a protector, she turned against the very people she was supposed to protect. The third plague brought lice or gnats to Egypt, targeting priests who valued ritual purity. Without the ability to purify themselves or their sacred places, these religious leaders felt humiliated and helpless. Egypt was plunged into darkness for 3 days during the 9th plague. Helplessness had a deeper meaning than it appeared. Ra, the powerful sun god, was revered in Egyptian mythology and illuminated the lives of the people. To imagine the sun being extinguished even briefly was inconceivable. A heavenly message announced that the Lord of Israel was supreme over the most powerful Egyptian deities. The Israelites in Goshen were surrounded by light, highlighting the stark contrast between those who followed the Lord and those who disobeyed. Witness the final plague, the firstborn's tragic death, struck with unmatched obedience. The Egyptian plague, worshipped as a manifestation of Hodeatharth, profoundly impacted the core of his divinity. Egypt's firstborn sons, including the heir, were killed by divine intervention, showing Pharaoh's perceived power was fragile. This spiritual act showed that no earthly authority, no matter how high, could withstand God's will. However, the Exodus story is more than just about destroying idols. It is a wonderful testimony to the one true God. During these miracles, the divine presence revealed justice, mercy, and liberation. He wanted to free his people from oppression, not malice. Israel saw the power of their God, who championed them in their weakness. This journey united the divine and his faithful followers in faith and devotion. Exodus is a timeless story that transcends ancient Egypt. It symbolizes free devotion. It represents the struggles of oppressed people throughout history. From the brave abolitionist movements in America to the ongoing struggles for human rights today, Exodus has inspired countless hearts to fight for freedom and justice. Its message endures. There is always hope for liberation, no matter how deep the oppression. The Exodus also warns against pride and idolatry. Pharaoh trusted false gods out of pride. His fall shows how pride can destroy one. However, the Israelites' exodus from Egypt beautifully illustrates faith. They found courage to lean on the Almighty's promises despite their fears and doubts, discovering a newfound strength within themselves. In the end, the Exodus is a profound redemption story. It shows that even in death, he orchestrates events to fulfill his grand design. Rather than punishments, the plagues showed that the God of Israel created and sustains all life. His victory over the Egyptian deities was a call to intimacy with him. This story makes us consider our own journeys. What deities do we worship today? Are they the king of wealth, success, or independence? Like the Egyptians, we often place our trust in unsalvageable things. Exodus calls us to abandon our idols and embrace the one who gives us true freedom. It invites us to trust the Lord to lead us through the wilderness to the land of promise. Each generation retells the Exodus, reminding us that freedom is possible, belief can promise, and the divine is limitless. This story captivates and inspires, calling humanity to follow a path of righteousness, marked by fairness, kindness, and unwavering faith in the Almighty. The Exodus story transcends history and religion, shaping civilizations and sparking revolutions, echoing in human hearts. Its influence extends beyond ancient Egypt and the Israelites' liberation. Many cultures, religions, and societies have learned from this story about strength, perseverance, righteousness, and belief. Egypt's ancient world dominance was greatly affected by the Exodus. Watch as the pharaoh's beliefs are defeated at the Red Sea, marking the fall of one of history's greatest empires. Egypt struggled to maintain control over its vast territories without its strong military. As the world was in turmoil, neighboring nations seized the opportunity to reclaim their lands and declare their independence. Egypt, once a powerful nation, faded into history as time passed. This tale of lost supremacy warns against pride and the consequences of straying from righteousness. It shows that even the mightiest empires can fall when they choose oppression over kindness. Egypt suffered, but the Israelites were transformed by the Exodus. The transition from kindness and freedom shaped their community identity. Once freed from oppression, they were lifted by hope, faith, and the promise of a brighter future. They learned patience, humility, and trust in a higher power in the wilderness, which shaped them. These teachings formed the foundation of their sacred agreement with the divine and shaped their laws, customs, and principles for generations. From struggle and trials, a nation emerged, bound together, not by land or lineage, but by profound experiences and a common purpose that ignited their spirits. The story of Exodus has inspired many to fight for freedom throughout history. The stories of spirits who were enslaved, colonized, and marginalized throughout history are full of liberation themes. The Israelites' story gave African slaves in America hope and strength during the transatlantic slave trade. They saw themselves in the Hebrews, seeking liberation and salvation. Spirituals like Go Down Moses became powerful resistance anthems, calling for freedom from their oppressors. The 20th century civil rights leaders were inspired by the Exodus story, like the Great Tales. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. used its imagery to inspire people to fight for justice, equality, and peace. The Exodus captures the essence of humanity. It is a story of war, triumph, sorrow, and hope. Each person experiences entrapment, whether from circumstances, systems, or personal limitations. The Exodus reminds us that transformation is always possible, even in despair. It inspires souls to overcome obstacles, believe in a better future, and bravely pursue liberation. This story transcends culture and faith, making the Exodus relevant to all. The Exodus also makes us consider power and authority. Pharaoh's downfall illustrates the dangers of all those who put themselves first. His stubbornness and disregard for advice had dire consequences for himself and his realm. Moses is a humble, divinely called leader. Power is used to elevate his people and fulfill a sacred purpose, not for personal gain. Divinely called, it makes us consider our favorite leaders and the traits we want to be like. Should we use power to subjugate or inspire? The Exodus shows how faith helps overcome obstacles on a spiritual journey. The Israelites faced the main spire, less. On their journey, they experienced hunger, thirst, fear, and doubt. Despite their hardships, they learned to rely on a force that surpassed their comprehension. Their unwavering faith got them through doubt and uncertainty. All who have experienced uncertainty or the weight of the world will relate to this part of the story. It comforts us by reminding us that faith can lead to wisdom even when the road seems hazy. Finally, the Exodus shows us how stories can change our lives. This story has inspired artists, writers, hazy Ians, and filmmakers for millennia. It has inspired creativity, deep conversations, and belief tests. Its timeless essence echoes human yearnings for liberation, righteousness, and purpose. Whether as history, myth, or allegory, the Exodus inspires and contemplates. In conclusion, the Exodus is more than a story of a group's escape from slavery. It shows the resilience of the human spirit. It is a powerful reminder that freedom is a noble struggle, that faith can help us through our darkest moments, and that even the strongest oppressors can be defeated. The timeless teachings illuminate leadership, guide us toward justice, and inspire hope. This timeless tale reflects our own struggles and goals, reminding us that freedom is a shared goal. The enduring nature of the Exodus story moves me as I contemplate its meaning. This story symbolizes freedom, physical chains, and overcoming personal limitations. Life presents formidable challenges, pharaohs that try to bind us in fear, doubt, or societal expectations. Exodus shows us that freedom requires bravery, determination, and faith, especially when the road ahead is uncertain. This lesson emphasizes the importance of challenging long-held beliefs. The Exodus Pharaoh's identity draws on uncertain history, faith, and society. It shows that truth is often a tapestry of experiences and requires gathering scattered insights from different perspectives. The plagues also demonstrate humility by showing that no authority is immune to upheaval. They invite us to consider how we use our power, and whether our actions are fair and kind. This story makes me think about legacy. How do we want to be remembered? Will we be remembered as oppressors who are kind to power, or as freedom fighters who uphold human dignity? These questions require thought. I recommend starting your journey today. Explore ancient Egypt, archaeology, and the many interpretations of the thought story. Discuss the meaning of this story with friends, family, and co-workers in a heartfelt manner. May it inspire wonder, conviction, and deep conversations. In the Exodus story, we learn that transformation often begins with one brave step, a choice to enter the unconversations. The path ahead is uncertain. What is your next journey, dear friend?